What's up guys, it's Average Old, making average content for the average viewer. And today I want to touch on an extremely hot topic surrounding the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Alpha. And yes, you guessed right, that is of course skill-based matchmaking, also known as the boogeyman or the reason that you suck. Anyway, my aim today is to go a little bit deeper into skill-based matchmaking and explain exactly what it is and whether or not it has a place in Call of Duty or any game for that matter. Before we get too far into the video, I would just like to say a massive thank you to Jaws Gaming who was able to send me this gameplay. I myself do not have a PS4 so was unable to play the alpha, and Jaws has been a real saving grace. So after this video, would you please go and give him a like on his latest COD video and maybe even subscribe. And whilst you're at it, actually subscribe to me too. So let's start off by talking about what exactly skill-based matchmaking is. Now some of you might have known about skill-based matchmaking for years, and others will probably have heard of it very recently due to its viral trend that has been going on Twitter where everyone and their mum has been talking about it. Hence why I'm doing a video, because I'm trying to jump on the trend, but that's besides the point. Skill-based matchmaking is a system that is implemented in video games that's pure aim is to match players of similar skill levels with each other so that every game is an equal and fair match. Now, that sounds good on paper, right? Wrong! Well, maybe not completely wrong, but let's talk about that a bit more. In certain games like Counter-Strike, Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, then obviously there is a very definite need for some sort of skill-based matchmaking. This is because these games heavily rely on two teams absolutely sweating it out to become the dominant team and win that match. Now, the thing with this games is that this skill-based matchmaking system usually comes attached to a ranked playlist. Thereby, if you perform well in a game, you are then going to level up your rank, and as you level up that rank, you are put against other players of that same rank, meaning that if you are a gold 1 for example, you will be against other players who have also achieved that rank. And the better you become at the game and the more you progress throughout the systems in that game, the higher the rank you will be, offering you a certain level of prestige about having that rank. I mean, obviously there is a certain badge of honor that you can then wear when you achieve that max rank in any given game. Now, when we're talking about skill-based matchmaking in Call of Duty, it is a different story. I'm going to put it to you that Call of Duty is an extremely casual arcade shooter. Now I don't want you to get offended if you take this game super seriously and you're a hardcore player. I mean, me myself, I am that kind of guy, but what I'm trying to say is that you are never actually aiming to be put against players of the exact same skill level of you so that you can actually sweat it out and become the top player. Since about Modern Warfare 2, we have seen a heavy reliance on kill streaks, or in more modern times, score streaks. To get these, you have to go on some insanely long streaks whereby you get one kill after another for say 15 to 20 kills without dying. Now, the only way that you can fully achieve this consistently is by being better than the people on the enemy team. When we talk about skill-based matchmaking, a lot of the counter arguments that we get come from people who say that content creators specifically only want skill-based matchmaking removed so that they can stomp on noobs. Now, I would argue that that is just not the case. The reason that I particularly do not want skill-based matchmaking in Call of Duty is because I do not want every single game I play to feel like I am playing against the sweatiest of the sweats. Now don't get me wrong, if there was a ranked playlist in Call of Duty, then that would be fine. I would happily play that because I know that even though I'm playing really hard games against really hard, competent teams, I know that at the end I'm going to have a rank that I can therefore be proud of because I have beaten said teams. Whereas with the current situation with Modern Warfare for example, I feel like every game I play, I am going to get punished immediately afterwards if I do well. And then on the flip side of that, if I have a game where I absolutely steamroll the competition, I find it hard to feel proud of that achievement because I feel like it was because I did bad in a game previous and so that the game has pity on me. Now, there are reasons why skill-based matchmaking could be perceived as a good thing, and especially from the developer, or should I say the publisher's point of view. Now, Activision want to maintain the attention of the casual audience, and by casual audience I mean probably none of you watching this video. Let's be honest, if you're at the point where you're watching Call of Duty skill-based matchmaking videos, you're not going to be considered one of the casual players. Now, the casual player is the guy who gets home from work, maybe puts his kids to bed and plays 2 or 3 games, maybe twice or 3 times a week. And there's nothing wrong with that. Please don't get me wrong, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now, the problem is, these players do not have the capacity to grow and improve at the game as well as someone who plays it 5 nights a week for 3 hours a time, or even more. For that reason, if there is no skill-based matchmaking, every single game that they get in, there might be 1 or 2 players who are leaps and bounds above them, and as a result, they will get absolutely smashed to the ground like a fat woman trying to jump a BMX. Now, the reason that this is not good for Activision is that because these players only play for such a short amount of time, and then every time they do play they end up having a really bad experience, then that means that they are less likely to continue playing the game. And in today's culture, where most of the revenue earned from a game is from microtransactions and battle passes, then this player retention going down is extremely detrimental to the overall cash flow of the publisher. Now, on paper I guess this does sound kind of fair, and to a certain extent I almost don't have a problem with it. Now, before I go on any further into the discussion, I think that it's very important to realise that skill-based matchmaking is not new. It was not new with Modern Warfare, and it is not new with Cold War. The thing is that skill-based matchmaking is somewhat of a spectrum. With that being said, it means that you can have it on a very low end of the spectrum, or you can have it on a very high end of the spectrum, like Modern Warfare 2019. On the high end, it's extremely obvious. This is why you could not stay with the same lobby after any match in Modern Warfare. As soon as you finished a match, you were taken out of the lobby, and then the stats that you achieved in that match were then used to place you in the next lobby, meaning that if you were in the top 1% of the game previous, in the next game you will be put with other players who were in the top 1% of their games previous. What this means is that for Modern Warfare, there are only a certain amount of people who are able to outshine the rest of the competition, and that is because they are so above average in their skill level that there is simply not enough players to fill a pool for their exact skill set. Now, for those players, I can't really see their issue, because at the end of the day, if you've got a 4 KD, then there's no reason why you should really be complaining against playing against players with a 1.5 KD, especially when you consider that when you are below that skill level and you yourself have that 1.2 to 1.5 kill death ratio, the chances are you're getting put against players of the exact same skill level as you, meaning that it's very hard to get more than 1 kill to 1 death in a game, meaning that streaks are no longer viable. And back to my original point, Call of Duty is a game that has been built from the ground up to incorporate these streaks, and if this skill-based matchmaking takes away from that and you are now unlikely to get any of these streaks in a game, then the chances that a player who has been playing COD for a long period of time are going to enjoy it are dramatically slimmed. And this brings me on to my main point of the video, I guess. Players like myself who have played Call of Duty for some 13 years or so are used to that feeling of having a good Call of Duty game whereby you absolutely go off. But not only that, is random. So one match you could absolutely go off, and then the next match you could be against 2 of the best players in the world and get your ass absolutely handed to you. But the point is, if you strive to be better than average, then statistically, more games than not, you are going to have a good game. This is because if you think about it, if the average player has about a 1 kill death ratio, and there are more than them than anyone else, that means say 10% of the population are going to be in the 1.5 and above KD bracket, and equally 10% are going to be in the 0.7 KD and below bracket. So therefore you've got 80% or so of the community within that average bracket. Therefore, every game you join will be majoritively filled up with average players. Now, for the average player, that will mean that every game feels like pretty much what skill-based matchmaking feels like, with the exception of the odd match where you will have a really good person in your lobby. And for a person who is above average, it means that most of the time you're going to be able to get some very decent streaks up every single game, apart from the times where you are against another player of a similar skill level to you. What this means for the overall flow of Call of Duty in general, and Black Ops Cold War if we want to make it more specific, is that every game is going to feel a lot more casual and relaxed, and you're not going to come off after playing for say an hour feeling like you have just been trying out for the COD League. Now, to be clear, I'm not opposed to having a ranked playlist, and in fact I would really enjoy that personally, but my main issue is playing every single game as if it were ranked, but getting no reward for it, and in fact getting punished for it. If you think of any elite sportsman, well, they're going to be playing their sport professionally, and that means that every time that they win or they lose a match, there is a direct consequence to that. For example, if you win a football match in the Premier League, then the chances are you are then going to get moved up the leaderboard and you can see a tangible result. But the difference is, if you play for a major league football team, you can still go down the park and play with your friends from school. And I think that it's very important for anything that you enjoy that you should have that casual experience and not have to take everything super seriously. And another point that I just want to add on to the end of this is that when you have every game, everyone's sweating it out just to try and keep afloat, then that means that a lot of the fun things that you can do within these games are left by the wayside. For example, in Modern Warfare, I found no enjoyment in getting the camouflage challenges done because I felt that if I was not using an on-meta weapon, then I was at such a serious disadvantage that the game no longer was fun anymore. Whereas if there was less strict skill-based matchmaking, then it would mean that I'd be placed against other players who were perhaps not as sweaty and were also going for camo challenges, and for that reason they would be easier for me to kill with a knife, rather than having to go up against bloody people with TTV, YouTube names and all that sort of shit, when I'm just trying to have a casual chilled one and not even record gameplay. But anyway, I mean, that's my 2 cents put into skill-based matchmaking. I just want to say that I don't think that skill-based matchmaking should be removed completely, because at that point you have people like Scump playing with someone who has a genuine disability and has no hope of ever getting to that level. But I do think that there should be a point where you turn it down enough so that people can actually see the tangible results of their improvement. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say about it. Any of you guys who have been watching my videos for a while will know that I love to see who sticks around until the end. So if you're still here, I'd like you to let me know by answering this question down in the comments. Do you think strict skill-based matchmaking has a place in Call of Duty? Anyway, that's it from me today. I'm Average Joel. Peace.